These veins don't get over 6. And a lot of times you're mining 4-foot wide vein. You got a 12-foot wide machine on 4-foot wide vein, you might as well stay at the house. Okay, so we went right back to 2 men. We're drilling and blasting and timbering, just like they did in here in the early 1900s. The only difference in a modern mine is we build big roads alongside of the veins, and we haul it out in big trucks. The only difference. Okay, now, I just started before. When they wanted to take it out, all they had to do was come down to this end of the ore pile. Okay, you know how far you mined up there. Okay, you come a couple feet past it. With 80-foot piled up there, about 2 foot. Okay, you come 2 feet past it, and you start drilling and blasting up into here. Now, you know the bottom corner of the ore pile is 10 feet up. Okay, you left 10-foot support rock. You mine about 6 feet past the bottom corner of the ore pile, leaving 2 foot of rock holding in the bottom side of it. Okay, then you build your ore chute. You build this right up to underneath the bottom corner of the ore pile. Okay, now, that last 2 foot of your rock you left up there, that'll break real easy. You don't need a big blast for that. You don't want a big blast. You don't want to blow up your ore chute. This is just timber. Okay, so you gotta be careful. Put some little pop charges in up there. Run your fuse down and out through your ore chute. You blast. You give an 80-foot pile of rock a hole to come through, gravity's gonna bring it to you, right to here. And all the man had to do was take a rock bar, pry that, well, you roll an ore cart up underneath here first. Right. Take a rock bar and pry that bottom timber up. Okay, it slid in there. Okay, now just enough. You had to be careful here. And the ore carts didn't hold all that much. So we had to poke and prod at it here, taking it out slow and careful. Now if it ever jammed up in there, well, he had to unjam it. So imagine this is where they put a new guy. We're going to break him in or break him, one of the two. Okay, now remember all those timbers we were standing underneath back there? Okay, they're there for a reason. Now they lost gravity after a while. They were going to have to drag that corner over to here. What for? They drilled up into the support rock, blasted, down it come, along with another 10 foot of vein, using gravity. Then they had to timber over that hole back there. Because a rock this big coming from 80 feet, take you or out. So most of these timbers we walk underneath as we go through here, they're covering up stope holes. They're not holding up rock. This is good hard rock here. We don't need to timber this. Okay, now we'll step into this room over here and I'll explain the drilling and the blasting end of things.
That's for the seat.
Okay, if we can get everybody kind of stand out and looking over this way, everybody can see the drill here. Okay, this is a jack leg drill. This is the leg, and this is the drill. Now, when you're applying for a driller's job, the first thing the guy will probably ask is, how many legs does old Jack have? Well, if you can't tell him about old one-legged Jack, he knows you've never run one of these before, and out you go. It's a trick question. You can't turn an inexperienced hand loose on one of these. Old Jack is a mean, rock-eating machine. It's very versatile. I can get this position pretty much anywhere I need for a hole. Okay, here's how you get one set up. It's run on air, 120 pounds air pressure to run it. You also have a water line hooked up. And you look at a drill steel, there's a hole that goes right through the middle of it. Now that hole goes all the way through to the other end. And there's holes in the corners of your bit. Now what the holes are for is for the water. What the water does is it cools your bit some, plus it stops the dust. If you try to dry drill this hole, by the time you got a foot deep, you'd have so much dust you wouldn't be able to see or breathe. They used to call these the Widowmaker. Before they figured out how to run a hole through that steel, them boys were dry drilling years ago. Black lung and silicosis and all that kind of stuff. Okay, nowadays the water stops the dust right at the bit, and then as the water flows back out of the hole, it washes that ground up rock out with it, keeping your hole nice and clean. Now the leg here does a lot of the work. The leg telescopes out in two places, here and here. It'll get 8.5 foot longer than what you see when it's fully extended. That's controlled by air pressure. You've got a dial in your handle. Okay, as your drill bit and drill steel go deeper in the hole, the leg gets longer, the angle increases and the leg does the pushing. Okay, you gotta have your air set just right, not too much, not too little, you gotta get a straight hole. Okay, but you've got 150 pounds of drill sitting on top of that leg. You can put some air to it. Okay, now all these holes we drill, we load with dynamite and blast. This is hard rock mining. You've got to blow this stuff up. You have to control the size of your ore. You don't want anything over about this big. Makes it easy to work on in here and handle in here and easy to handle outside. You control that by how far you drill your holes apart and how tight you pack them with your explosives. You don't just slide one stick down in the end of that hole. You load all 8 foot of it with dynamite. And some of them you got to pack a little tighter than others just to get the results you want. There's a few tricks to it, but what it all boils down to is you just got to be smarter than rock.
When you drill there, is that a reciprocating drill then, just like a hammer?
Hammers and rotates.
And when you said pack it in there, using the like a wooden rod?
Yeah, use a
Today,
piece of wooden dowel,
same
a
thing.
loading pole, yeah. You don't want to use metal, you create sparks. Okay, now, we'll head over this way a little bit. Okay, now they decided to really open this vein up. Instead of just one tunnel and some stopes, they sunk shaft, 1,400 foot all total, right alongside of this vein. We've got 900 foot of it right in front of us here. They started this section here in 1907, completed it in 1911. It took them 4 years to sink the shaft and then to timber it up from the bottom. Once they had this completed, this was a very busy spot right here. Because right in front of us is a big ore bin, a big wooden box built right alongside of the main shaft where a 5-ton ore bucket ran up and down. All the gold-bearing ore that came out of this mine from the works below us got brought up the shaft, dumped into this ore bin here, and taken out through that ore chute right there. There's some of the rail we left in so you could see some of that. Now somebody asked me about that hole that went down back there. Okay, that was a stope from 250 foot below here. They stoped it up. Now you wonder why it was offside of the vein. Well, they didn't want to have to bridge the road. So when they got close up to underneath the road, they veered off to the side, holed through alongside of the vein, went back down, emptied it, then they had a vent shaft for air. And they didn't want to bridge the road. But once the shaft was done, it opened up miles and miles of this stuff. This is just the top tunnel. There's all kinds of tunnels below us. Now I can't get everybody in here at once. I can get 2 people up at the fence and 2 people standing behind them, but I want everybody to get a chance to come on in here and get a look up and down the main shaft. You can kind of get a circle motion going in here. You guys come on in, just stand right back here, and when they squeeze out, you step right on up. And now all this timber work in here was done with hand saws and axes. They didn't get electricity in here till the 20s. Okay, if we get you folks just coming in to step around the back, and then the other folks can squeeze out. Kind of get a circular motion going. Pretty neat, huh? And I've climbed up and down all of this. These boys were good. There ain't a bad cut in here. But you got 900 foot of it, you better build it.
900 foot deep?
Yep, from the surface, straight down on the surface. And the only reason they only went 900 foot here was because that was the lifting capabilities at the time. The strongest cable they could get for lifting 5 ton.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Patty right up to the edge there.
So don't worry about that fence, I put it in there myself. Because I'd be the one having to go down.
Can you get us down there yet?
This is so cool.
Surely we're not going.
No, it's dark. I don't think we're going to.
Yeah.
There's been some right now.
You want to help me get out of this thing?
Yeah, we don't say
Okay, now you think about it. You were just standing over a 600-foot deep hole on over 90-year-old boards. They had to have a winch in here. That was the foundation for it. They had to have a cable going up to tip that ore bucket over the dump. They had a little winch mounted there. And then the other winch was on the surface. Okay, now we'll head further in.
Okay.
If we can get some of you to kind of squeeze around the pole here, I know it's actually too big of a group. We'll make it work. Well, 'cause there was a tour gone up just before you left, or before you guys all showed up, and all of a sudden I get down there, man, the parking lot's full. That other group only had a smaller group with them. Too bad they didn't stick around a little longer. Okay, now, you drove up to the mine on Route 66. Right here, you're directly underneath it. 320 feet straight above our heads right here is the highway. So now you can say Route 66, been on it, been under it. Okay, and you'll see as we go through here, there's timbers above our heads all through here, covering stope poles. There's ore chutes all through here. This mountain is like an ant farm. There's tunnels below us, stope poles connecting them, vent shafts going to the surface. We're just walking in 1/8 of a mile of the top level of this mine here. We're just seeing a little bit of it. Okay, now we'll head further into another area where we'll gather up. Keep it tomorrow.
Carol, run over here.
Run over by bigger than that.
So you told me to come.
Now what we'll do is we'll get you moved this right here. And then the rest of you will get all fanned out around through here.
There's a reason there's a sign there.
I swear if I took down that danger sign, nobody'd look.
No, they wouldn't look.
Now, what's your percentage of gold to silver?
60-40.
60 gold?
Yeah, varies a little bit from pour to pour, but and I'll explain some of that when I explain the process again. You'll be able to go in that whole room when we get around the corner here. Now I want everybody kind of looking over this direction. Now here's old George, and he's warming him up a cup of coffee. And we didn't make this up. There's a lot of references to the miner's coffee warmer. They take a piece of timber, put some railroad spikes around in it, put a little piece of candle in the middle, and they could get him a cup of hot coffee. Now, don't imagine they sat around in here coffee clutching a whole lot, but they were working 12-hour shifts. You'd have to eat something, you'd get a cup of hot coffee along with it. Now, if you ever see old pictures of miners going into work, look in their shirt, their bib pockets. Those white things you see, candles. Okay, a lot of the mines didn't have carbide lights, that was a luxury. A lot of them where you showed up to work, they'd give you 3, 4 candles, and that was it. Called in your hole, lit it up, and started drilling. Okay, now we're gonna step into this big lit up room right behind us here. Here's where I can show you guys the gold. So we all get gathered up in that room there. We're gonna back using lamps. We got back and get the rest of you in there. You know, now crank your arm back this way. Okay, yeah, you're fine right there. Okay, now, they got here in 1905 and named this the Glory Hole, and for good reason. Look up above us here. They were mining along on that vein over there, when all of a sudden here came 2 very, very rich strips of vein that met up with the one that they were following. They mined $45,000 worth of gold out of just this room right here in 15 days. And gold was only $19 an ounce at the time. Okay, so they really hit it here.
Is that the sparkle you see?
No, anything you see sparkling in here is quartz or calcite crystal. Okay, now here's where I can show you the gold. I want everybody to be watching this white strip of quartz right here that I'm shining my light on. That strip of quartz there assays out at 10 ounces per ton. That's some really sweet stuff right there. And here's where I can fluoresce it. So everybody stay put and be watching right up in here. I'm going to turn off the white lights and turn on these long-wave ultraviolet lights. Now you won't see anything at first. These are mercury vapor lamps. They have to warm up a little bit. Once they get warmed up, they'll kick into high gear. Once they kick in, then it takes just a little bit of time for the penetration of the light waves to get through that milky quartz material to where it can fluoresce the particles of gold. Now this density of gold here will fluoresce a lime green color, a bright lime green. Now if you held a gold ring up in front of these lights, it would look black. Solid gold does not fluoresce. Because this is microfine particles of it scattered through the quartz, it will. Okay, the lights have just kicked in. Now the first place you'll see any of that lime green is in that skinny little strip off to the left. Looks like there's 3 little green dots right in a row.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that fluoresces right away because it's real close to the surface. Just keep watching up there. With time for penetration, there's going to be a whole lot more of that that start showing up.
I see it. Wow, check
Yeah,
it
look right
out. Oh, man.
So cool.
Yeah, it's all microfine particles of gold scattered through there. Now, they didn't have these lights years ago, and we don't use them in modern day mining. That won't show.
That won't show.
You won't, we had a professional in here trying to get a decent picture of this, and it still won't, we can't do it justice.
That white strip been real wide before when they came in here, and of course that's all gone now?
Yeah, we don't know how wide it was originally.
Okay.
Okay, now that's as bright as it's going to get up there, so I want each of you to pick a spot that's fluorescing and watch it real close. It disappeared.
It's exactly what you're supposed to say.
You have to have a density of 20 ounces per ton or better in order to see it with the naked eye. 20 ounce per ton material, you could hold that up to a white light or sunlight, and you'd actually be able to see a little gold glitter or smear through it. Okay? This was only 10 ounce, that's why we had it fluorescent. And trust me, I've looked. They didn't leave any 20 ounce per ton stuff laying around. Okay? All right, now we'll head a little further.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead and get the power in. Yeah, a little bit. You'll be able to see from there. And we get a few of you can come past her and get right over on this side here. We'll get you all packed in here. Okay, that'll probably work pretty good. We'll get you just to squeeze it a little tighter here. All right, now this is what the beginning of a stove looks like. Okay, you can't carry those drills, drill steels, timbers, and everything you need up those ladders. You'd spend all day climbing up and down. You wouldn't get any mining done. So you have to set yourself up with a skip box to load your gear into, a timber slide for it to slide up and down in. Okay, you have a cable hooked to it. You hang a pulley up top every day. You have a tugger on your road or a winch. Now when you and your partner come into work, one man climbs up, one man stays down here. We communicate with a high-pitched air whistle. So many toots for up, down, and stop. That's all you need. Okay, once you get all your gear up there, the other man climbs up and you go to work. Okay, now that timber box you've got to build every day up in there. In the modern mine, we build them 8-foot square. We use 6 by 8 inch rough sawn timbers. It takes 64 of those timbers just to build 8 foot of the box. Okay, you've got to get them all up there, stack them up, spike them together, 2 big spikes in the end of each one. You've got to build your ladder. You have to build your timber slide every day. And it's not like you call in the carpenter crew. Okay, you and your partner, you're it. Okay, there's only room for 2 men up in there. You get 3, 4 men up in there, you're just climbing on each other. You can't get anything done. Okay, so it's just you and your partner. Okay, a good boss man won't even come up in there. And after 100 foot, you don't have to worry about a boss anyway. You don't like climbing. That's why the bosses, they got lazy. You don't like climbing.
So you can tie off when you're up in there, or they wouldn't bother?
Well, you can't tie off a whole lot of places. I mean, you know, OSHA, according to OSHA, we couldn't mine, but we don't have to deal with OSHA in here. We deal with MSHA, Mining Safety and Health Association, and they understand what mining's about. And you don't find them yahoos crawling up in them holes anyway. They'll sit and write all their rules and stuff in their desks, but you ain't gonna get them to crawl up in their name stove holes. So we're pretty much on our own up there. But you've got to, you know, you can't be foolhardy up in there. You've got to be careful.
And you can't be claustrophobic.
Nope, not a bit. Nope. Okay, now, you noticed how flat this was as we were walking in here. You notice back that way. You see how smooth that is. Okay, you might have heard of the San Andreas fault plates in California that are moving and causing the earthquakes. Okay, they're called tectonic fault plates. And that's what we've got through here. This tectonic fault plate runs for, the vein formed up against the fault plate for a couple of miles through here. Okay, and now that fault plate, that's solid granite. That's the kind you'd polish. Okay, and that granite is too dense for anything to actually bond to it. You see how smooth it is? Well, right here it's not, because this has been blasted out. But the smooth areas, you see back here. Okay, you've got to be careful mining along these fault plates, because that vein is just leaning up against the fault plate. Okay, we're perfectly fine here because we're in a small area. We've got good rock above our heads, and we're wedged in. But you know, you've got to be careful along these fault plates because you can slide them out and off of them. Now, we don't have to worry about this one causing an earthquake because it's not like it's rubbing against another one and laying flat. It's up on edge here, so it's relatively harmless here except for mining along it. Okay. All right, now we'll head back out towards the rig. We usually would go down and do a little bit down there, but there isn't enough room down there to pack us all in. Okay? But the door there, if you went through that door, you could go another 4 miles before the tunnel would end. But it's just a lot of stopes and ore chutes. There's no need shafts or anything to see. But a mile past that door right there, there's ladders that go down 300 feet, and they will bring you into the modern mine. This is our secondary escapeway from the modern mine, our back door. By law, you have to have one, and it just makes good sense. Have a back door out of there. If you're at cave-in and you're running from smoke, you can climb them ladders and get out this way. I had a guy comment one day, he says, "Oh man, you had to climb 300-foot ladder?" I said, "Hey," I said, "if that's your only way out of there, you double rung them ladders." Tell you what, if you're not going fast enough, there's going to be a hard hat coming right up your butt. And that old boy underneath you, he wants out of there too. Okay, and if you ever had to climb them ladders, you weren't thinking about 300 foot, you was thinking about how to fly. Okay, if you had to come up them ladders, there was trouble. And everybody that hired on here had to go down those ladders and out to the modern mine so they knew where this was at. So this is our secondary escape way. Okay, now we're gonna head back out to the outside, and out there I'll get you gathered up and I'll explain the processing end of things. Okay, so we'll just head on out, and if you run into anybody, just stay to the right-hand side, okay?
Look at her, I like that thing. The new Gidget gadgets, I like them. They're pretty slick.
Thank you.
Oh,
Okay.
What do you want to try? Clean jumper?
You just called her house and the lady was looking at me and she said, I wish I could get it home nice. And then she said, oh, that's a good price. And I said, you don't have to buy it. I'm thinking about giving it to you. I said, I can't believe I said that. Should I buy it? No. She said, if I had to wait for you to home, I would. And she said, I'm afraid I'll damage it on the way home. And I said, you probably would. I told her I have smaller ones. Where'd you guys see those coats?
Well, down a ways. What's that?
We'll put the stuff down here and then go back up that way. And we'll stop at High School there, right?
I got it for half time. Maybe.
Yeah.
Harvey is not doing the part of it like that. He's at the backpack 40, 50 miles. Now we're flat. Went down and we dropped 3,000 feet. And then 2 miles. We had to stop and back up.
This is the place. Yeah, and then the one she was looking at's gone. It's gone, Kay. Oh, there it is, right there. That's it, right here, right here.
Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. Might have some
Could be. Okay, don't look down there.
Oh, man. Ooh.
The hell with the town, right, Kay? Oh man, that thing is neat.